Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Sima coming at you with another quickie. Our featured guest today is Mr. Volibear. Today we'll be covering runes and masteries, skill builds, and item builds. For runes, keep in mind that finding out what works for you is the most important aspect of runing yourself. These are the normal runes people will use on Volibears: 80 marks, attack speed quints, HP per level seals and armor seals, CDR or MR per level glyphs. Pretty standard, nothing to see here. You can always change it up, make it work for you. This one is for the Moby Bear. Sometimes people will like these ones better. Attack speed marks, same seal setup, and CDR or MR glyphs, but with movement speed quintessences. This is more for the Moby Bear and people who really like to gank and apply pressure. Last but not least, this is the one I'm using out right now. It is purely for late game, and I prefer this setup because right now it's very easy to get to late game, and if you can ever pull this setup off, you get so much bonus health because it synergizes so well with Cinderhulk. Here's the setup. It's attack speed marks, HP per level seals, and CDR per level glyphs with HP percentage quint. Yes, HP percent. Never thought I would use it, but it really scales well into the late game. Let's talk about why we use this rune setup. We go attack speed because our W gives us attack speed on hit like Jack's passive, and the requirements to use our W active ability is to land 3 auto attacks, so we want to get him off as quickly as possible. After that, our ultimate ability makes our auto attack do extra damage, and we want to get it off as much as possible as well. We take HP runes because, well, Volley has an HP scaling on his passive and on his W, so that's a no-brainer. CDR per level or MR per level, I will always go for CDR because that is how tanks are gated by the amount of spell rotations you can pull off in teamfights. And I like my scaling cooldowns because at level 6 or 7 they will equalize the flat ones. For masteries, you can try and experiment with different things. Some like to use a more defensive setup and others prefer a more offensive one. I will show you guys a template for both and what you should aim for when doing your masteries. 9-21-0 makes it so you are extra tanky in teamfights and gain the tenacity, which is really helpful if you don't want to go merc treads or just like tenacity in general. And CC are what tanks really hate since they prevent you from actually doing your job. Also, you can push it further on the defensive side and actually just go 4-26-0 and play with that. Try them out and see what works best for you. My personal choice is going 21-9-0 because I feel the offensive masteries offers more in the early game or in duels or scraps, and is home to the best mastery of the game, which is dangerous game. It works really well with tanks as well, in my opinion. Also, no one will expect a tank to do as much damage as you do at any stage of the game, and it also synergizes very well with your W execute. For skill builds, you should start either W or E. I personally start E if I start on Krugs, and I like W if I start on Grom. Afterwards, you will max your W first, take points in your ultimate whenever you can, and max your Q second. Some people do like to max E second, but I prefer Q because of the utility. Cooldown decreases and movement speed increases, while E, you only get an increased slow with extra damage, and 30% slow is plenty enough for 3 seconds. If you can't decide, then just put points in both equally after you max W. You can't go wrong while skilling Volibear. For item builds, get Cinderhulk as soon as possible, then Righteous Glory, and then get your boots. Those are your core items. Afterwards, the world is your oyster. Seriously, in most games I played, having those 2 items and whatever boots I decided to use, I felt I was doing so much in terms of ganking power, duels, and team fights. So get your Cinderhulk enchant finished with any smite you personally like. I prefer the Trailblazer, then rush Righteous Glory, and get your boots somewhere along the line. After that, just build accordingly. If you need MR, Locket, Banshees, or Spirit Visage are all good items. If you need armor, or Thornmail, Omen, even Frozen Heart are really good choices as well. Special items to try out are Face of the Mountain. It's sort of my secret weapon if I really need to protect one of my carries, since you will be able to give a 400 to 500 shield to an ally. The other one is Frozen Mallet. Since it's more on the expensive side, you won't be able to get it most of the time. To recap, get your core items, then let your imagination run wild. Right now, you guys should be able to get into a game and play some Volibear and having at least the minimum knowledge to make the champion work and not look like a fool. So remember guys, do as I say, not as I do. Ciao ciao.
Yogi Bear is smarter than the average bear. Yogi Bear is always in the ranger's hair. At a picnic table you will